What's up guys, today I'm bringing you a double review of the Blitz and the Free Runner by Chance. You guys have been asking for more gameplay footage, so in this video, that's exactly what you're going to get. 2 rounds of domination, 3 points on the map with chess timers.
We're orange, right?
First to destroy, 2 out of 3 wins. Off the break, I'm capturing the neutral point,
I got it.
and my teammate Captain Xavier is capturing our home base behind me.
Yep. Here's some covering fire. Got him.
Now that I've eliminated that threat,
Don't
Captain
push up too
Xavier
far.
is taking the enemy's base timer.
They're in trouble. We have all 3. They're in trouble.
You hit? GG. What's the respawn?
Individual instant!
We're good right here. Stay the other way. Go the other way. I got this lane. All right, 1 down.
Okay, there is in the gauntlet, but I pretty much have him trapped here. This is such an impossible corner to...
Okay, at this point I'm thinking that the second timer must be going off any second now, so I try to block the entirety of the lane by laying down a lot of fire. As you already saw though, both timers are already done.
We've gotten 2 points already.
And we've already won.
We already won.
Okay. Orange team victory!
Round 2, fight!
Go!
This time I am once again taking the more obstacle-ridden path, while Luke takes the gauntlet, which is a straight path to center, which is why when I get there first, he says,
Gee, that was amazing, Kale.
No problem. Already did it.
Captain Xavier has once again captured our home base and moved up. Now moving up, I fire a warning shot to tuck the person back, and he finishes the job. Now it's time for me to move into the enemy's base and hit their timer, which I thought I did, but I actually did not click the activation button.
Oh, you got me. I'm out, guys. I got a team sleep. Woo!
Okay.
I'm winning them all.
Okay, stay on the left. Stay on the left.
Okay.
I already got it. We already got all 3 right now.
They got me.
So what you just heard is actually the first timer going off, and then the second one already went off. So the game is technically over at this point. I look over and confirm that,
All right, that's done.
and then the
done.
game is over.
They're done.
Well, if you guys enjoyed the gameplay footage that I put at the beginning of this video, and you want more of it, let me know down in the comments, and I'll keep doing these extended editions in the reviews, or maybe as separate videos. Now, of course, today we are talking about the Blitz and the Free Runner, like I mentioned in the introduction. We'll talk about the FPS that these blasters are getting, we'll talk about the differences and the similarities between these two, and ultimately which one I think you should get, because there is a clear winner here. Both these blasters are semi-automatic, flywheel-powered blasters running on Nightingale-sized wheels, and they take straight Talon mags and other straight Talanoids. There are battery covers on the bottom of the grip, and the thumb screw is included in the hardware to make it easy to take the cover on and off. As you can see in here, there is plenty of room for a battery and a LiPo alarm. Outer Darts recommends, I think, around a 1,000 milliamp hour or 1,100 milliamp hour. I'm using a 550 here, and it seems to have plenty of power for it. One of the other things that these two blasters have in common that is really cool is their modular cage system. So they have a removable and hot swappable cage using these gold leads. Both these blasters are designed with a sleek and curved design so that there are little to no catch points on your gear. You'll also notice that there's only really 3 main parts to the shell. First, you've got your lower assembly, which is going to be where your mag well is, your trigger, your mag release, and of course the battery. Then on top, you have your upper, which is going to have the cover for the top of the flywheels. Then there is this little front piece here. It's basically just an orange tip muzzle, so regardless of what color combinations you go with, you'll have an orange safety tip. As you can see, both of these blasters have a slightly different profile, and that comes mostly down to their pusher systems. The main difference here is that the Free Runner is going to have a thinner and lighter profile because it uses a mechanical trigger. Now, as for the Blitz has a slightly thicker profile to account for the solenoid because it is a solenoid-driven pusher system. Basically, there's a little switch, and pulling the trigger hits that switch, activating the solenoid to move the dart forward. Now, despite the fact that they have different mechanisms for their pushers, both of them are dual-stage triggers. As you can see, there's no dedicated rev trigger on either of these blasters. Now, when I pull the trigger halfway, you'll hear the flywheels engage, but you'll notice the pusher doesn't extend far enough for it to actually push the dart into the flywheels. Now, if I pull all the way through, then the pusher will move far enough to get the dart to touch the flywheels, therefore sucking it in, and that makes it fire. That's what makes it a dual stage trigger. And even though it's solenoid driven, it's exactly the same for the Blitz. So half press to full press. Now, both of these blasters are shooting on Nightingale wheels, like I mentioned earlier, and what I see these blasters as is exactly that, a Nightingale alternative that has straight Talon mag compatibility. Because as much as I love my Nightingale, which this one's not entirely stock, obviously, because it's cosmetic stuff, it still has stock performance for HVZ cap or other 130 cap events, but it uses proprietary angled mags, and not just the original angled mags, but actually slim angled Talon mags, because it's mag and grip. This performance is very great and also has a dual stage trigger, but these basically give you that same performance and the same style of trigger in a straight Talon form factor, and that's something I'm a big fan of. Now, I know I said the performance is the same, but how do we actually know that? Well, of course, we've got to take it over to the chronograph to see how hard these shoot. Now, there are a few different motor configurations that you can get from out of darts. I decided to go with Loki's for mine, and I did go with both of them for Loki's, so the performance should be pretty similar. And of the different options available, I think this one is probably the hardest hitting and should be perfect for 130 HVZ. The Free Runner on worker darts got a high of 128, a low of 121, an average of 125, and an FPS spread of 7. The Blitz had a high of 131 FPS, a low of 129, an average of 129, and an FPS spread of 2. I did test other dart types for accuracy and compatibility, and I didn't seem to have any issues with any particular type of darts, but I did have an issue with dart lengths, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. I actually discovered one of the issues during accuracy testing. Speaking of accuracy testing, let's talk about how accurate these blasters are. When it comes to the Free Runner had 2 bullseyes out of 5 shots, and it missed none, which is pretty respectable for a flywheel of this power at this distance. Meanwhile, the Blitz had 3 bullseyes, and it did have 1 miss. Still very respectable, and the miss kind of balances out with the extra bullseye. I also want to mention that the serviceability of this platform is pretty good. It only takes 1, 2, and 3 screws on either one of these blasters to take off the whole top assembly and access your flywheels. And then you can access your cage, your pusher mechanism in either one of these. I also think it's very tasteful for 3D printed designs to have heat inserts throughout the design, which makes it so you're not screwing directly into plastic. One thing I want to mention is that the tolerances on the magwell are a little bit tight, at least in mine. So either one of these blasters, it does fit, but requires a little bit of sanding in order to get talons to fit properly. Before sanding, it doesn't want to go in. I will say, though, that I didn't have any issues with either blaster taking Koda mags or Tamagotchi mags. What? If there is one other con I could call out about this blaster right off the bat, it would be that because the battery compartment is inside of the grip is rather thick. It's just a necessary trade-off to not have it in the front like it is in a lot of other pistols. Now, I do want to talk about the pros and cons of both blasters, but first I have to talk about some problems I had specifically with the Free Runner. I'll talk about how I solved some of those issues, which ones I'm still having, and how I think it affected some results. First problem I was running into is trigger sticking. This is something that I actually sent the whole blaster back to Out of Darts for, and I don't know for sure how they fixed this problem, but it is better, but not perfect in comparison to how it used to be. Now, when I got it back, I did see a significant improvement, but the problem was not entirely gone. And I did see further benefit out of adding a little bit of lube to some of the parts within the pusher mechanism. That being said, it does still stick from time to time. The next issue I ran into was actually with dart length. So I would have an issue where with the free runner, if I was using 36mm darts, the pusher wouldn't push the dart far enough to engage with the flywheels. I had some 38mm darts, I put them in here, and I went to do the same testing just to see what was going on there, and surprisingly, they all worked just fine. What? So I went back and forth with the designer. I adjusted my flywheels to see if that was the issue, which I did get a slight improvement from that as well. But ultimately, I ended up having them design a new 2mm longer pusher to put into this blaster so that it would work with 36mm darts. So far, I'm the only person that I know of who has had this issue, so I'm not really sure if any of you guys will have that issue, but if you do go with the free runner and you do have that issue, then just know there is already a file for that, and hopefully that solves any problems that you have. The third issue I have with this blaster has to do with a possible combination of things, and that is that when I fire faster, I get a drastic decrease in FPS, and it limits the overall speed I can fire this blaster. I will show you an example of this. I'm going to fire a dart at full speed, meaning I get the flywheels up to speed by holding the trigger first. As you could probably see, that shot no problems. If I go to just pull the trigger all in one motion, sometimes, even with the Nightingale, the very first shot would be a little bit low powered because it doesn't have time to spin up properly. As you might have seen there, that basically didn't go anywhere. Now, the problem comes that when I'm trying to fire quickly, even if I let it get up to full speed, I just can't seem to get a good rate of fire out of the free runner. So I can definitely get shots off, but I can't keep a consistent high rate of fire, and a lot of the times I'm getting dipping performance of those. I verified that by testing and got shots as low as 45 FPS when just trying to fire all in one motion. It's possible that when the trigger initially got stuck before I sent it back out of darts, when I had to pull the battery out in order to get it to stop spinning up, that it damaged the motors. They could have also possibly been defective from the beginning. Because I wasn't able to use it very much in the very beginning, I don't know. I don't have any of the info from before that. However, as it stands right now, that is an issue that I'm having. Now that I've gotten all the problems that I've had with the free runner out of the way, and assuming these problems would be significantly less bad, I'd like to compare it to the Blitz. Some of the positive that this platform has in theory over the Blitz is that it doesn't have a solenoid, so it should theoretically be slightly more power efficient. Again, because it doesn't have a solenoid in it, it's also lighter than the Blitz. Last but not least, the hardware kit for this blaster is $55, which is cheaper than the kit for the Blitz. Now, on the flip side, for a hardware kit, the Blitz is $66 from Out of Darts, which makes it $11 more expensive. For that $11 difference, you get a blaster that is, yes, a little bit heavier, but significantly more snappy, significantly more consistent, in my experience, and also it's kind of dummy proof. See, if I force this blaster to fire when the wheels are not properly spun up, I risk damaging the motors, and that's something that, like I said, may have already happened to this unit, but also could happen if you loan this to other people or to yourself if you're not experienced. When it comes to the Blitz, it just works. Every time, spins up quicker, even though it's got the same motors, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Now, the FPS behind that shot, just by my eye, and by yours hopefully on camera, is that this didn't experience any significant rev sag or reduction in FPS for its first shot, which means every time I pull the trigger, it's going to have a fairly consistent experience. The only limit that I really see here is how fast you can pull your finger. And if I really want to use like video game logic to push it to its absolute max, I can fire off really fast with this thing. And it's very consistent when I do that. So as you can see on the chronograph, we're actually getting less than 10% reduction in FPS most of the time. Which means that it's really fairly safe for me to hand this blaster to somebody and let them fire as many darts as they can fire. Obviously, as long as I have a LiPo alarm to make sure they're not killing the battery. And in the same way that it's dummy proof, it's also just more reliable. Now, of course, there are some trade-offs here. This blaster isn't perfect, and one of the things it trades off versus the free runner, again, is theoretically a little bit of power efficiency. 2, heavier. 3, the overall cost being $11 more for a hardware kit. And I think the most important one for most people is, even though this is a fairly simple blaster overall to wire for either of them, this one is going to be more cramped and a little bit more complicated than the Freerunner. A couple other things to note before we get to the final thoughts are that even though these blasters are very similar, they do not have interchangeable battery covers, and they also don't have interchangeable lowers or uppers. They both do have files though to add certain accessories. This one right here has heat inserts for the top rail, though I don't have a top rail for it. And the Blitz could just as easily have the same, it just doesn't. At least mine doesn't. There's also tactical versions where you can get a little pick rail right here, and that way you can attach a stock if that's more of your thing. There's also a cool file from Perry from Out of Darts, who did a Picatinny rail on the bottom where the battery tray is for both of these blasters, and so that way you can have more of like a paintball ergonomics with like a brace. One thing I would have liked to see is some way to attach some kind of foregrip or something to the front. I get that it's kind of against the ethos of the design of the blaster, but as you can see from my Nightingale, I just kind of like the SMG feel. Now for my final thoughts. Assuming that the problems that I had with my Freerunner are more exclusive to this exact one, as opposed to a widespread problem, I would say that you can't go wrong with either of these blasters. But rather you factor in those problems that I had or not, I think at the end of the day, for the $11 difference, the obvious choice is the Blitz. It's more consistent, has higher FPS, and even if the FPS is the same, this one is dummy-proof. The solenoid also has a very fun and tactical feedback that just kind of can't be replicated with anything else. And I do like mechanical triggers, but they have to be very good mechanical triggers. And I just don't think that the system of this mechanical trigger is the best. There's also some tolerance stuff going on in here where sometimes you don't fully activate the rev trigger, and that's its whole other issue. I think this blaster in particular, without the solenoid, would benefit from a remix where it has a dedicated rev trigger. So ultimately, at the end of the day, what I'm saying is I pretty much recommend you go straight for the Blitz, especially if you're considering something like dual wielding. Instead of trying both of these like I did, I would just say get 2 of these. I think you won't be disappointed. This thing has been very consistent in PvP, it's been very consistent for HVZ, and I think this Blitz bridges the gap between something like the Nightingale, which is sub $100, and something much more expensive and premium like the Diana, giving you the solenoid experience with the FPS of HVZ caps. Now, both of these blasters could be upgraded, and one of the possible upgrades you could do, which is similar to the Nightingale, is swapping out the Nightingale wheels and the motors for possibly something like Band Blaster's Baby Banshee wheels and their 74K RPM motors, which gets people in the Nightingale somewhere around 150 FPS cap. But I think if you're going to take a blaster like this to 130 cap or 150 cap, it's better to have 130 cap, which can do both. That's just my personal thoughts on it. I haven't covered a lot of pistols on the channel, but I am going to be doing a best of pistols I've ever used video in the near future. So if you have any pistols that I should check out between now and then, let me know down in the comments. You would have also already known that we were going to be reviewing this blaster if you watched our mail time video, episode 2. So feel free to check that one out after this. But as for today, that's all I've got for you. So until next time on the King of Games, have a blast.